As a startup and as an entrepreneur, you keep seeing opportunities, and you need to finish what you started and build it with a solid foundation so it can maintain itself before you can start doing the next step.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm here with Dennis Harte from Tuk Tuk Factory. We're going to learn about electrified Tuk Tuks that he's been building over the last 10 years. It's an amazing product, and we just had a fantastic conversation. So we hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much, Dennis. This was fantastic. So thank you very much for taking the time to meet with us. Dennis, please do me a favor and give me a personal introduction.
Oh, sure, yeah. So I'm Dennis Harte. I'm Dutch. I've been living in Thailand now 9 years. Actually, I arrived here. I'm one of the founders of Tuk Tuk Factory.
Okay.
I have an engineering background, and now I'm doing mostly the production management.
How did you get started with this, and why electric Tuk Tuks?
Well, for me, it was a graduation project. I was doing my master thesis together with my current colleague, Marijn van der Linden, also an engineer. And there was a company that introduced tuk-tuks to Amsterdam and The Hague, and people really liked it. You know, it's a very exotic vehicle, and people love seeing these colorful things driving through the street. So the first company that introduced these vehicles, they asked for our help, and that's when we started to do researching the tuk-tuk of the future.
Why did you go with the electric instead of like a normal or an LPG or some other way?
Emission is a very big issue, also now in Asia. And so we decided, and we found actually from that research long time ago, that electric and tuk-tuks make really good synergy, a really good marriage. It's short range and not very fast, no high speed, so you can introduce a commercial, successful electric drivetrain very easily.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were a master's student, you worked on this project.
Yep.
What were the first steps to getting started in a real company? I mean, as a student, you probably didn't have any background as an entrepreneur.
No.
So what were the first steps, and how painful were they to get started?
Yeah, it was pretty scary at the start. First of all, I didn't do this alone. We were in a founding group, so we had a group of 4 guys starting this. Okay. And we started actually under the umbrella of the first company that introduced the tuk-tuks. So they were doing taxi rides and really having a public transport kind of business case. And under that we started making the first vehicles. We got subsidies from the Dutch government, and finally the transition towards producing it in Asia, that was a big step. Okay. And slowly but surely we got it rolling.
So early on, where were you producing, or were you just buying them and bringing them into the country?
So yeah, the first vehicles actually were dumped vehicles of the first company. Okay. So the vehicles, the original authentic vehicles that came to Holland, they were gasoline motors, and the quality was bad. So half of them, after a big rain, they came back to the garage. Okay. So there were vehicles available to start converting to electric, and we did 10 of them as a conversion. And then we could see it's not sustainable to keep doing that, and then we looked for partners in Asia to develop a complete new vehicle.
Okay. Yeah. So then you moved to Thailand to start to, so are you the production person?
Yes.
In the group of 4?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So since the start, a lot of things changed. You know, we're already 9 years or 10 years in business. For me, my background is industrial design engineering. Okay. So I came to Thailand originally just to do design, and we did that with a Thai partner. And after we did a rapid development, like 9 months, and got it certified for Europe market.
Oh wow.
And after we did that, the Thai partners indicated that they had issues, or they looked up, you know, to do the actual production, but they helped us start a new company, which I did, and that made me stay longer. Yeah.
Okay. So what was that process? You start off, you know, looking for a partner. You're just doing the design. They bring you what you need. Yeah. Then you have to start your own company.
Yeah, we took it step by step, and I had the fortunate situation that the Thai company actually supported us to start up. And of course I got support from Holland. Sure. Yeah, so that made it easier. Yeah, and also the fact that I'm still young, you know, no big risks, no mortgages, no relation. Yeah.
As a Westerner in Asia, you often hear a lot about the risks of working in a certain country, that
Yes.
the difficulties of a joint venture, trust issues with the local partners.
Yes.
But it sounds like your partner really helped you.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Why? Like, what was different? What did you do that you think allowed that to happen?
I think first of all, you have to be lucky with selecting a partner. So lucky or smart. I guess it's a bit of both. The partner first said they were going to do the production, so they felt guilty of canceling that out. We already had customers, even though we never made the vehicle. We already had customers ready for that.
How is this product different than, say, the normal Tuk Tuk that you're used to in Southeast Asia?
The difference between the Western market and the Asian market is that drivers are more expensive, so you like more passengers per driver. Okay. So that's why you can see we kind of supersize the vehicle to fit up to 6 passengers, depending on what country, what legislation. Another thing is different, it's electric, so it's very quiet, so actually you can talk to the driver, but I guess it's a little bit less of the authentic tuk-tuk feel, but you can add any sound to it since it's electric, right? At least you have clean air, you can drive through inside airports, shopping malls, those kind of things.
Okay. Yeah. And who are the buyers? You mentioned drivers. Are these taxi drivers? Are they Uber drivers? Are they mothers who have 4 children? Who are you finding is the most interesting market for you?
So one of our bigger markets is in Portugal. Okay. In Portugal, people use it for city tours. So you even have villages actually putting money together to buy one tuk-tuk that gets tourists in from the bigger cities. Okay. But there are also big city tours in Lisbon, in Porto. Next to that, next to the city tours, which is also in Paris and Berlin and those kind of cities, it is also used for events. So you have remote places like Cook Islands. They use it for tour, but also for marriages, those kind of things. It's used for promotion. So Jack Daniels in the US, for example, did a promotion in Denver, Heineken, those kind of things.
So don't drink in Tuk Tuk?
No. Yeah. So take a Tuk Tuk, you can drink, but let somebody drive. Yeah. And finally, it's also used by hotels and resorts. You can imagine, it's with a Thai theme, like Anantara in Dubai, for example. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You just mentioned a dozen different markets that you're selling into.
Yes.
How have you guys focused, or how have you built your distribution channels?
It's difficult because the market for electric tuk-tuks was non-existent before we started. Right? We created a company. We also had to create our own market. Nobody walked around thinking, when I'm going to get the electric tuk-tuk that I always planned to buy. So it's and we had zero marketing budget, but we benefit from the fact that it's a very cute vehicle, and the vehicle is it really stands out. It's very exotic, and we had people like yourself drawn to that and come to us to do an interview, do some video, and that really helped us get some traction.
And I guess, because there was no market, you had to kind of make it, and that meant you also had to kind of identify your customers, your customer base. Yes. Does sustainability and environment, is that a selling point for this, or is it because it's the cute something else? What are the main ways?
Now, for us, sustainability is a selling point, but it comes second. Yes, I'll have to admit that. It is, first it needs to be a sustainable business case. So the customers that return, they make good money with it. And you can imagine that a vehicle like this in the European streets really collects a lot of money. Okay. So, and the electric drivetrain helps with that because it's very low on maintenance costs and energy costs.
Okay. Yeah. Are these electric drivetrains, are they unique to you? Did you develop your own, or are you buying from other people and then just making the best design tuk-tuk you can?
Oh yeah, we developed this with suppliers, so we're not making the parts ourselves, but we did do proper selection and make this custom for us. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And so in a sense, could you, like Tesla, open it all up and say, okay, everyone just go? Yes. Because you want the scalability to drive the market. Is that something you've ever thought about, or?
Yeah, we did actually, because one of the things that we want to focus on is the drivetrain and the vehicle. So you could see in the future, I don't want to compete with all the small roadside shops in Asia for making the body and the seats and everything like that. So you could think of engaging them actually, and we make the chassis and the drivetrain, and they can make the rest. Yeah.
So what's the grand dream of the company then? Like, what are you trying to accomplish?
Well, right now we need to scale up. So we need to focus actually. Yeah, and it's difficult because a lot of people come up to us, especially in Asia. They see the opportunity to start here. Last year was a bit tough for us for Europe because we had a change in European regulation. So we had to overthrow our design, change things, and so we just barely managed to do it on time. Okay. So we secured our European market, and now we need to keep that going while slowly being able to open our capacity and our work for other opportunities.
Okay. So you have all these different standards that are happening in your factory then, in essence.
Yes.
And how difficult is that to manage?
It is
technically.
It's difficult because you need a certain skill to be able to do what the bigger car manufacturers do.
Yeah.
In level of control of quality and standardization. And when we started, you accept any customer that has weird requests, and we made library Tuk Tuks and those kind of things. So the key is for us as a vehicle manufacturer with complex technology is really focus on standardization and getting enough skill to maintain a team here that can help us with that. And luckily in Thailand there's a lot of good qualified automotive staff.
In your 9 years, what has been your biggest challenge?
As a startup and as an entrepreneur, you keep seeing opportunities, and you need to finish what you started and build it with a solid foundation so it can maintain itself before you can start doing the next step.
So how do you, with that in mind, on a day-to-day basis, stay focused? What are the things that you do?
Well, you make sure that your normal work hours you stay focused, and you reward yourself with extra hours to do the fun stuff.
And then what's the thing that keeps you going every morning you wake up? Like what's the thing that motivates you?
I really like to see the Tuk Tuks, and I think we do make a difference. We introduce something with a lot of character and authenticity, introducing a new technology. But also my team and colleagues. It's a great pleasure to work with these people. We have fun doing it, and also the team in Holland. We really have a thrive to move forward. Yeah.
Does it help you to think really big and look at the city and figure out how it's going to integrate? Or does that become too much of a distraction? You should just focus on making the product and waiting for the customers to tell you what they want.
Well, for me, as industrial design engineer, I was trained in more conceptual and strategic design as well. That really triggers me, yes. But on a day-to-day, especially during production, you have to, put your feet back on the ground.
Sure.
And doing that. But yes, no, I still, I occasionally I go to universities here in Thailand, do a short lecture, and then I get carried away by all the things that are possible in the next 5-10 years in terms of mobility. Yeah.
And if you were talking to a young aspiring entrepreneur,
yes,
what would you tell them that they should be looking out for along the way?
Yeah, well, I would tell them stay critical of your situation. Right, it's very important that you stay happy what you're doing, and that you also acknowledge when things are not growing. This sounds a little bit pessimistic, but every time you do that, you'll feel better about what you're doing. So it is very important that you can have a company, but if there's not too much growth in it, then in the end, your time is actually very precious, especially as a young entrepreneur.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time.